Hello everyone.
Hi.
How are you guys?
Fine.
Hi.
Okay, thank you.
I'm
I'm fine. Hello. By the way, you guys are supposed to be grade 9s now. Why are you in this Zoom meeting? This is, by the way, only for grade 8s by now, which means last year grade 7 students are supposed to join the Zoom class. But I'm fine with you being here, okay? It could be a revision for us. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay, good. Joe, you're looking great. Kebra, hi. So, as it is for grade 8s, the current grade 8s, our today's topic is going to be a little bit simple, which is simple present tense actually. That's the first topic of the grade 8 English book, and we're going to discuss that in details. And for now, I'm going to display a note that I sent you on Telegram, and we're going to have a discussion on that. And if you have any question, you can ask after the discussion. It does. Can you see the Word document now?
Yes.
Very good. Okay. So as you can see, it says English first handout for grade 8, and it talks about present simple. This is useful for all grades actually, because it's a common grammar topic. So to start with, simple present tense is one of the tenses in English. As you all know, English tenses are divided into these 3 timelines. If anyone asks you a question, what is tense? Your answer is going to be, tense is timeline. So timeline means in which time boundary or in which time frame the action is done. So saying that, you draw a timeline, and then in the middle of the line, if you point now, and that's called present, and everything that happens after now is future, and everything that happened before now is past. In these 3 subdivisions of tenses, the present, the past, and the future, you can have another subdivisions of tenses. There is the simple tense, there is the continuous, there is the perfect, and the last one is the perfect continuous for all the present, past, and future. So for now, we're going to see simple present tense. As you can see from the document, the present tense is the base form of the verb. Base form means the verb 1 form. Verbs have their own 3 forms. The first one is the base form, which is called the infinitive or the present form. And then there is verb 2, which is the past form. And the last one is the past participle form of the verb. In this case, the first and the second verbs can stand by themselves, which means you can say, I eat my lunch, or you can say, I ate my lunch. But the third one, which is verb 3 or past participle form, cannot stand by itself. It needs a helping verb. You don't say, I eaten my lunch. You have to say, I have eaten my lunch. There needs to be a helping verb before the past participle. Okay, this is an introductory of our topic. So to move on, the present tense, as we said, is the base form, which is the verb 1. But there is a slight difference between using base form or V1 with different subjects. Third person singular nouns usually have different forms in most cases of tenses. In this case, third person singulars, which are he, she, and it, need to add s or as according to the verb. For example, you can see it in the Word document. She works in London. Work only added s because the subject is she. But when you come to the second one, he fixes pipes. He is a third person singular subject, but fix is a verb that ended with x. So we need to add es and make it fixes. Look at the examples. The first one says, do you play the piano? One of the different things in simple present tense is when you use the negative and question forms. For example, in other tenses, for example, if it is a present continuous, it has its own helping verb. But in the case of simple present tense, as we said earlier, we use the base verb form. So how do we ask questions? Or how do we change it into negative? In this case, you need to use the verb to do, which is do and does. As mentioned earlier, does is used again with third person singular subjects, which are he, she, and it. So the first example, do you play the piano? Why did we use do instead of does here? Because the subject is you, yes? So on the second one, where do you live? Again, the subject is you. So we use do instead of does. But on the third one, there is a subject that says Henok. Henok is a third person singular, which you can change into he. And because of that, you use does instead of do. And the rest, where does he come from? Again, the subject is he. What about number 4? Why is it do? There is Rita and there is Andy. Why not does? Is there anyone who can answer that question? Why not does Rita and Andy live in Mercato? Okay, no one is answering questions. So the answer for this question is, as you can see, I'm underlining on it, we have Rita and Andy, which means, okay, try, you can try.
Mister, maybe because there is
Jonathan.
between,
Yes?
maybe between the two words,
Go
there
on.
is and.
Not because of and, but because there are two subjects, Rita and Andy, which means if you want to change this into pronoun, Rita and Andy becomes they. So in case of they, we don't use does, rather we use do. That's the exact reason. And the last one, where do they work? Again, the subject is they. So to summarize this, we use do and does to make questions with present simple and to change into negative. There is a very good point right here. We use do and does with questions words like where, what, and when. Where do Angela and Rita live? What does Angela do? When does Rita usually get up? In this case, we have used do, does, and does again. But this point, look at this one. Questions with who? Questions that start with who? We don't use do or does. Look at this example. Who lives in London? not who does lives in London. Who plays football at the weekend? Who works at Liverpool City Hospital? These are examples that show who is not followed by do or does. Look at this sentence again. I like tennis, but I don't like football. You see, we used like here without do or does because the statement is positive. But when we went to make it negative, we used don't. Again, I don't live in London. These are examples that show simple present tense uses do or does in case of negative. Look at this one. I don't live in London now. I don't play the piano, but I play the guitar. You see the difference? Don't play, but when you come to the positive one, we canceled out the helping verb. They don't work at the weekend. John doesn't live in Manchester. Angela doesn't drive to work. We use do and does to make negatives with the present simple. So it's similar with questions. Now let's proceed to situations that make us use the simple present tense. This is a very, very common topic. As I said earlier, it's like a revision for you because you guys were at home, for more than 6 months and around that. Let's just start our class by revision. That's the whole point.
Mr. Watandi.
ወጣ ሚስተር
ወጥቷል።
ለስራ አበበ ይዘህ ሆስት ነው እያለ ነው እኮ
ተመልሷል።
Hello, can you hear my voice now?
Yes.
yes
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, good. Let's continue. It's the network, okay? Can you see the document now?
Yes.
yes yes
Very good. Okay, so we stopped at the uses of the simple present tense. The first use and the most common one is when we want to talk about something that is true in the present. For example, if I ask you a question, where are you now? You say,
ወጥቷል።
ሚስተር ወጣ።
አሁንም
ሚስተር ወጣ እንዴ?
ገባ።
ቪዲዮ ስታርት በል እንትን ለዚህ Hello. Can you listen to me?
Yes.
Yes.
Man,
Yes.
can hear you.
Okay, I think it's the network. It's like, yeah. So let's continue discussing. Okay, so we were at the first use of the simple present tense, and we said we use it to talk about something that's true in the present. If I ask you a question, where are you now? You say, I am at home. So that is something true in the present. Look at the examples. I am 19 years old. When you tell your age, it talks about something true in the present. For example, if I ask, where do you live? You say, I live maybe around Goro or at Summit, something like that. And what's your occupation? You say, I am a student. So that's something true in the present. The second use is to talk about something that happens regularly in the present, which we say habitual action.
ሚስተር
ሚስተር ወጣ ወይስ
አለ?
ወጣ እንጂ?
አሁን ወጣ።
ገባ።
ጂበል እንዴት ነው የምንመለስ?
የኔስ ተስተውሻል?
አሁን ገብቷል መሰለኝ።
Okay, thank you. I think it's the network. It's on and off again and again. Anyways, let's try to finish up. So we talked about the first use. The second one, as I said, it's something that we call habitual action, or something that happens regularly. For example, most of you go to church or the mosque every weekend or on Sundays. So you say, I go to church or I go to the mosque every Sunday. And when you want to mention what you do repeatedly, use the simple present tense. The third use is when we talk about something that is always true. If we remember most things that we discuss in class, especially in biology class,
ድጋሚ ወጥቶ ነው ሚስተር
ወጥቶ ነው ሚስተር
አለ ሚስተር
okay, I'm back. I think today's network is really bad, so let's continue our discussion. As earlier mentioned, we talked about 3 basic uses of simple present tense. The first one we say moment. The second one to talk about habitual action or actions that happen repeatedly. And the third one is
ሚስተር አለ ወይስ
አለ ሚስተር ወጣ
ሚስተር ምንም እየተሰማኝ አይደለም።
ሚስተር Mr. Rutta.
Repair.
masuk atau ada. አይገባም እንዴ ሁሉ ሰዓት?
ኧረ በእግዚአብሔር እሺ
ሚ ማን ነው? ሚ ማን እንደሆነ ብቻ ማወቅ የምፈልገው። ሚ የሆነ ነገር ጻፈ ሲል ምን ጻፍኩ ምናምን ነገር ነው የምለው። ማን እንደሆነ ማወቅ አለብኝ።
አስተማሪ ወጥቶ እኮ ነው። ኧረ በእናትህ አንተ
ቶማስ አልደበረ
አባቴ
አይ ጮኬ ምንም ጮኬ ሰው
ሚስተር ወጥቷል።
ወጥቷል።
ሚስተር ወጥቷል አልገባም። ማንም የለም እኮ
Okay. Sorry guys for the inconvenience. It's because of the network. Anyways, let's finish. The third use, as I say, it is something to talk about something that is always true. For example, the first example says the human body contains 206 bones. 206 bones. The verb contain has S on it because the subject, the human body, is a singular subject. And on the second example, light travels at almost 300,000 kilometers per second. These are two true things, something that we cannot change. In this kind of examples, we have said babies cry when they are hungry. This is also another fact. So in these cases, you are using it to talk about facts, generally true things. So we call it general truths or facts. We often use adverbs of frequency like sometimes, always, never in the simple present tense, especially when we talk about repeated or habitual action. I sometimes go to the cinema. How often do you go to the cinema? Sometimes. She never plays football. How often does she play football? Never. So these are the two examples. This point, I want you to remember this very carefully, because in most cases, students think like we can't use simple present tense for future time, but we do, especially when it is a fixed plan in the future. Fixed plan in the future. Let's say your father is flying to Canada this evening. So you say, my dad flies to Canada tonight. To fly is changed into flies because it is my dad. My dad is a third person singular subject. So we use the present simple to talk about something that is fixed in the future. Fixed in the future. Fixed in the future. A fixed plan in the future. We are now at the pandemic COVID-19 and the government has decided when to start class. So maybe you can use that specific timing to talk about when class begins. Let's say it was supposed to be next week. So you can say the school term starts next week. The school term starts next week. Starts is simple present tense, but it's talking about the future, next week. The train leaves at 19:45 this evening. So the time is specific and fixed. This evening is future, but we used simple present tense. We fly to Paris. Fly is simple present tense, but the timing is simple future, next week. So you can use it to talk about future fixed plans. The other thing is something in the future after time words like when, after, and before, and after. When you talk about something in the future, after these words, time words, when, after, before. The first example, look at it. I'll talk to John when I see him. I will talk, simple future. But after the time word, which is when, you used see, which is simple present tense. Again, you must finish before you go home. Go is verb 1, which is simple present tense. If it rains, we will get wet. This one is conditional type 1, but we used it after the word if. He won't come unless you ask him. Again, this one is conditional type 1, and we used it after the word unless. So this basic uses of simple present tense makes it different from the other tenses in English. It's practice time, but we are left with I don't know how many more minutes. Yeah, 3 minutes. Let's try to do at least question number 1 up to 5. This. Can you try number 1? Anyone who can try number 1. Petros and his friends dashed to school by bus. Remember the instructions, please. Use the simple present form of the verbs in bracket. Petros and his friends dashed to school by bus.
Go to school
Anyone?
by bus. Petros and his friends go to school by bus.
Excellent. No change. Go. Go is the answer because Petros and his friends. Yes. When you change Petros and his friends into pronoun, it becomes they. What about the second one? Elephants dash leaves and grass.
Elephants.
Sorry. Elephants dash leaves and grass.
Eats. Elephants eat leaves and grass.
Yes, no change again because the subject is plural. Elephants. It's a plural subject. But if it was an elephant, it becomes its. The third one, David's father dashed in a hospital.
David's father works in a hospital.
Works in a hospital.
Come again.
David's father
Works in a hospital. Excellent. Works. It added an S because David's father, it's the third person singular, he. The bank opens at 9:30 and dash at 4:30.
The bank
Closes.
Yes, the bank is the subject of this sentence if it says opens, and you use the same form, closes. If this was the banks, if it was plural, it becomes open and close. The last one for today. Thomas and Jafar dash football every day after school.
Thomas and Jafar play.
Place.
Play.
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 Because Thomas and Jafar, when you change it into pronoun, it becomes
They.
they. They. Yes, it becomes they. Okay, guys, thank you very much for your time. Our class for today is finished, and I hope to see you same time on Monday. And make sure you read the note that I'm going to send you on Telegram and practice on the questions. And have a nice time. Stay safe and keep yourself safe from the pandemic. Wash your hands, wear masks. Okay. Bye bye.
Good.